Welcome back, everyone. We are ready to go into our winners match here, the first one of the day, and it is going to be Casie versus Warma, and it feels like it's going to be an uphill climb, so just purely based on these lists, right? Casie rocking the Malyghost Druid that we spoke about today and yesterday with Ties, having a good matchup versus most builds of Priest, and Warma running arguably an even lower impact list, and I don't mean that as any kind of like weird insult, but there's no Zephyrus, there's no Alex Straza, there's none of these like big answer plays that are available outside of a Soul Mirror, as we've seen in the previous matchup with Viper who played Zoo. The little AoE removal is going to help, not really versus a Mali Druid.
Right, if you just look at the number of potentially dead cards in the matchup, right, like 2 Disciple of Galakron, Acidic Swampoos, 2 Penances not really going to do anything. The Breath of the Infinite unlikely to have a huge impact. Apotheosis even really, like, maybe you can make a big minion and beat up the Druid with it, but the actual healing is not super relevant in the Mali Druid matchup where they can just full combo you from 30 a lot of the time as well. Like Shadow Madness, unless you can pair it up with Wave of Apathy, not likely to have a huge impact. So there is a big old stack of dead cards in Warma's deck here that, you know, we've already seen Mali Druids stampede both today and yesterday through a deck, a version of Priest in Highlander Priest that I think is slightly better equipped to be dealing with the matchup. So I feel like Warma's decks might just fall over here against the potency of the Mali Druid.
And I don't know if this was just an acceptance of saying we'll lose to Mali Druid or anything, but looking at the secondary and tertiary deck for Warma is he has weapon removal, blatantly anti-bomb warrior list that you can see pretty straightforward. And then the second one is the long value gameplay, maybe for the Priest mirrors to an extent as well. It looks like there could be some good options there for that mirror. What I don't see is another way to beat Druids at all, because I don't think a slower value-based plan is going to cut it. And unless he likes the tempo of these extra 2-drops in Wimrest, Purifier, and Acidic Swampoos, I don't think that's going to be the plan either. So I do wonder if Warma is almost going into this series going, it's quite unlikely I'm going to win, but that's fine, because I'll just beat my other opponent afterwards. The issue is if that other opponent is ball control, this could be a little bit tough for him.
It could, but we are now into our first incredibly crucial matchup of the day, as this is a qualifying match. This is winners finals, essentially, which means the winner of this matchup is going to qualify out of the group for Sunday. And if you missed us in the intro or haven't heard us mention it so far, this group, this day in particular, is very, very important in terms of the long-term standings for the divisions. Any player that qualifies out of this group today, aka the winner of this match will be the first of them, is going to find themselves in Division A for the meat of the Grandmasters season as we get into round robin. Anyone who doesn't will find themselves in Division B. So the winner here guaranteed a Division A slot as far as we understand it. The loser not yet guaranteed a Division B slot because they're not out of the bracket just yet. They'll drop into the lower bracket and still have a chance to fight, but they will have missed their first of 2 potential chances to find themselves in Division A for the rest of the season.
And what a big deal for Warma, honestly, because it's the first weekend we've seen him get to be on stream. And as a newcomer GM, honestly, the one thing you do not want to do is rock up to GM for your first season after no doubt months upon months of hard work to get there and then get knocked back out again season 1 for you, right? Like that's really what you don't want to happen. And not that it's not possible if Warma makes it to Division A, it is possible it would be for a Division A player to be relegated. It's just less likely, right? And you do just feel safer and there's a better chance of actually making it to the playoff spot. So it must just feel, it'll be a big deal, I think, for Warma to get into this first season and just book his spot in Division A nice and early.
And it'll be a big deal for France as well, I think, because we've talked it up. You know, we've made a really, really big deal about, you know, French dominance now over a few seasons of GM and through the Masters Tours. Blaise, Swid's coming good as well, Falcane and Zim getting top 2 in a Masters Tour. You know, all of these incredible performances from France. But as it stands, Blaise is the only one of the French representatives in GM, of which there are a lot, who is going to find himself in Division A, unless Warma can also make it and make it too.
Yeah, and in our very little bit of a discussion just about the implications for these players and outcomes, Ysera just hits the board, because of course it does, with Casie on Druid there, getting it out nice and early. There was a moment, yet again, I am just going to mention it whether people like it or not, of playing. Warma had not a lot to do, and playing like Mind Render going into that potential turn 7 play from Casie was an option. It is something you do look in for Druid. He chose not to and just passed the turn. Now he's staring down at Ysera, which is going to be feeling quite unfun for him at this moment.
Yeah, Casey's second turn 4 Ysera unleashed in as many games. That is back-to-back turn 4s that he's dropped the big dragon.
Nothing feels great here for Warma, does it? I mean, this is not really a strong setup. Something that makes this a little bit easier to deal with is the fact he does have that raised dead, so he can get a Sephic back again along with that Pyromancer. But still not feeling great. Crystal Power going to undo a lot of this damage as well, which means Ysera's sticking around for the foreseeable future. And at this point, with Warma having access to a relatively decent-sized hand, and Casie not so, how reliant with this board control Casie has is he on drawing cards early? Like, how quickly does Casie need to refill right now? Does he have time?
So with the quality of start that he's had, like presuming he also doesn't draw Dream Portals off the top, right? So let's say no Dream Portals, no card draw. He can probably have 1, maybe 2 turns of not spending his mana here, because you know the amount of mana he spends is so much higher than what's available to Warma that it takes several turns for Warma to be able to catch up on tempo, right? Because you know Casie could essentially pass the next turn and still have spent more mana over the course of the game than Warma has, because he's ramped so aggressively. So he has potentially 1 turn where he can perhaps not draw anything and just float his turn. But after that, you'd expect that maybe this Soul Mirror and some of these extra powerful options are going to come good from Warma. So he will have to find something to do relatively soon. Something to do does not really include Thought stealing one of the Dream Portals, which is now just a big ugly card in his hand that he can't really play because it costs 9. And I imagine Casie will just full hold this turn because he wants to, as we were just discussing, guarantee some card draw off these Guardian Animals by making sure that they have rush targets on the following turns. And
also, a problem as well with coin available, if you just play Guardian Animals straight into a Soul Mirror, that would actually feel very bad.
Fair.
Again, I do think your point is 100% key. It's just a side benefit, whereas if you play Guardian Animals and then Warma just plays Soul Mirror, I'd almost question whether Warma's just winning at that point.
Overflow Guardian Animals off the top as well. No Dream Portals just yet. But now that is all the card draw Casie is going to need, and he already has, you know, potentially just game-ending pressure on the board right now.
He does. Warma can muddy the water here, though, with this Soul Mirror, right? Because it's not clean for him to deal with everything at all, but it also means it's not clean the other way, right? We can see the swipe in hand for Casie, which would help, but it does mean that Warma puts a lot of bodies on board, 2 of them with Death Rattle, 2 of them with Taunt. He could even coin out a Renew on one of them if he wanted to.
Very true.
I think he's got to do something. I don't think it's just just Galakron, try and kill one and pass, because that's how you die.
Yeah, especially since Kronks has already gone down. I could, like, envision that being your out, right? Where you just say, okay, I'm alive, like Galakron here, I'm probably alive, and then maybe I can do something with Kronks next turn, right? But Kronks has already gone down, so that's unlikely to be an out for Warma in this position.
Quickly.
And that's the big problem. I definitely think Soul Mirror looks really good here, and if he doesn't, I'm not sure what the 2-turn plan is, because like, you could argue that Soul Mirror gets better if Casie plays more stuff, but Casey's played more stuff, which means you're in more trouble. I don't know. I think the Soul Mirror could have been really good there. Oh wow, more layers of protection with the snake.
Double swipe Moonfire Hero Power is 10 additional damage, 9 on board, making 19. Oh. 5 short.
Can I just not count? Oh, did I not count the Moonfire? Green Portal.
This timeline amuses me.
Asymmetrical dragons as well coming out, meaning that the Soul Mirror is not going to be a clean answer.
And the problem as well is Warma does not play dragons in his list apart from Murazond. So he's not running the 2-off like the full dragon package, which means this the AoE isn't really going to go off either, even if he could force it.
And it was actual perfection as well from the Dream Portals. Filled the board and then stopped. Casie going to sit back and take the burn here. There is 1 or 2 crucial ones left remaining in the deck, including the remaining Dream Portals. But you would imagine some board spaces will be opened up for that. If they don't, great, you've probably won the game. Yeah.
And this was the fear, right? With not Soul Mirror in last turn, if you force into it this turn, then it feels worse, because not only, a lot of the minions have lined up in a weird way as well for Soul Mirror, but also it's likely that Casie just has more tools available to him to help on his side of it. Let's just have to go for it, though.
Gonna drop the Renew on his face as opposed to on the Teacher's Pet here, I would imagine.
My hand is too full.
Moonfire is a card. But I believe lethal, right? With 18 damage still to go through, no Taunt minion summoned from the Teacher's Pet.
He was just hovering the Malagos for a second there. It's like, oh, yep, double swipe just does it. Never mind. That's going to be game number 1 going to Casie. And unfortunately for Warma, I'm not really sure what he can do about it going forward, going into game number 2, right? Because, like I said, his 2 other options of his secondary or tertiary deck don't, to me, seem to really change what's going to happen. And as long as Casie doesn't whiff, it is all on Warma to be able to pull something out the bag to win the game. If he doesn't do anything impressive, then Casie just will win at some point, right? There's just no real 2 ways about it.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing he can do is just hope that Casie doesn't play an Ysera on turn 4. Like that is quite the big deal in the matchup. If you just go ramp into Vate Ysera, then you're probably going to be in trouble with most decks, let alone a one that isn't really equipped to deal with the matchup in the first place. So he certainly needs Casie to have a slower start. He certainly needs to draw about as pressure-heavy a hand as he possibly can. We saw him trying to do that in that matchup. Like, he started out, he just played his Pyromancer on curve, right? Because he just knew that he needed some minions in play to start beating away. But, that was it. It's like, all right, here comes my pressure. Wild Pyromancer. All right, I'm out. That's it. I'm done. That's everything that I can throw at you, Casie. Well done. You dealt with it. Or what's that? You have a 4/12 dragon? Unlucky. I guess I lose. If that's the story, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of games of Hearthstone with just about any deck.
Yeah, and this just in, Warma has moved to his tertiary deck, so he's losing the Swampoos, 2 Wild Pyromancers, and 2 Breath of the Infinite, sorry. And he is going to be going for Madame Lazul, which, okay, yeah, I can see that as a tech-in. Body Wrapper, 2 Cabal Shadow Priest, and a Natalie Celine.
Okay.
So the plan is to steal ramp with Madame Lazul, so he can Natalie Celine the turn 4 Ysera? Is that the plan?
And then Body Wrapper another one into his deck and just out-dragon his opponent. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, I'm just excited to watch this now. I really do want to see if any of these cards make an impact. There's an argument that purely a Madame Lazul in your deck versus not might just be worth the whole tech. The whole switch, sorry.
It's fair. And honestly, I don't know whether this is something he was intending to do the whole time, whether it's something that he's just tried out in the Swiss, whether it's something that he's just trying to improv with now. Whatever the answer is, I respect anything that he could have done here, right? Like, any change in strategy, anything that he possibly could have tried, because clearly the primary deck does not get the job done.
Exactly.
Right? So, just trying to do something creative with some other strategy, I don't know, switch to your secondary. Maybe just like 2 5-mana 4/4s. Just get there. You just Kobold Sticky Finger them. Just coin one out, play the other one, beat them up with 2 4/4s. Maybe that works.
3 extra 2-drops. Honestly,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You know, it sounds very silly, but even looking at this, right? Lazul was the card I think I was most like convinced with this swap, and already look at these options. He could have a Twilight Runner for himself to help fill up his hand going forward, right? It's just you could have. You've got hold of some ramp for next turn, and maybe you just seen options. Even maybe a swipe would help out with a guardian animal turn. So I can get behind it, and I fully agree. If you go into a matchup saying, "Oh, this is like terrible. I'm probably just going to lose," and then you have an option to mix it up, and you don't, then you just accept going into the matchup again, expecting to lose. I respect it.
Get out of here, Casie.
It's only going to be a turn 5, you say, right?
I know. Disgraceful. Casie needs to try harder.
Body Wrapper is Lazul, I guess? Oh no, sorry, it's
This
Discover.
minion
It's
dies.
not. It's yeah,
This
it's not.
minion
Yep,
dies.
you're right. You're right. Sorry, I'm not really overly familiar with the Body Wrapper tech, but yes, you are completely right. It's a dead minion. So it's just a curve play.
Don't know anything about Body Wrapper, but I do know how to body wrappers.
A solid 2 out of 5 for you there. So.
All right.
Wasn't your best work, I'll be honest.
All right. Wow, I even get a womp womp from production. Oh my goodness.
I mean, there you go.
Must try harder. Jeez.
I was actually probably being generous with giving you 2 out of 5. Never mind.
I know.
Guardian Animals dropping down there for Casie, and with the Twilight Runner, it does mean that his hand can continue to fill.
It's going to drop a Moonfire for tempo here, just to deny tempo coming back the other way, which is pretty sensible. Casie does have the inevitable conclusion here, so stalling out is the best way to go about it.
To be fair, obviously Warma did not choose this, but playing Ganling was a bit of a problem for Casie, right? Maybe that's one weird way you lose, is if suddenly there's just some 4/4s on the board that you didn't plan for, right? Like,
exactly.
That's maybe just a weird thing you lose to sometimes. So, yeah, sacrifice a Moonfire. Doesn't feel great, but it's gone. Okay, it's not permanently gone, so you can res it, but it's not something you have to worry about happening in the near future.
And boom. The big one.
With Sarah. I was checking out a Tempo Goose there, honestly.
Whoa. Spicy.
What would the punish be is my question. Does one exist?
Renew, I guess, is the answer. Like, again, I think you're so favored in the matchup. Like, why run a risk like that, to be perfectly honest?
Well, as you can see here, though, this Twilight Runner is getting work done for Warma. Plague of Death was an option, but now he can actually just steal this with Wave of Apathy. Absolutely huge.
It is insane. This is exactly the kind of curve that Warma needed to put together here. And actually really threatening Casie on tempo now, which is the only real way he's ever going to get out of this matchup alive.
And easy to say now, but it has come off the back of his switch to his tertiary list because he played Lazul, right?
Yep.
Oh, I guess that was the punish for the Malagos, right?
What
match?
Yeah, I mean, also that, yeah.
Oh, that would hurt. Yeah, so Casie does have to be a little bit careful now, and the problem is, as always, the more you use tools to clear the board, it doesn't mean by any means that, like, oh, you're going to lose because you didn't full melee combo your opponent. But it is a consideration, right? It's not something you can do freely. It's just throw swipes and moonfires away.
Life and hope are worth fighting for.
Luckily for Casie, though,
has been forced to break up the combo.
Yeah. And luckily for him, the Ysera wasn't completely stolen. Like, he, as you could quite readily see, he got the battle cry effect, which is the main power of Ysera, of course. It's not like it was stolen from his deck. I mean, or you could just do this. If Casie tweets about having an unlucky game of Hearthstone today, I'm going to be upset.
What? What has happened? What occurred here, Raven?
He burnt a port soul. Never mind.
What has occurred? Explain the happenings we just witnessed.
I can't! Casey's just a Ysera god. Hey, what is Warma even supposed to do? He's only got 7 mana! Yeah, I'm with you, mate. You're waving your hand because you don't know what to do, neither do I.
There's 50 damage in play! 50!
Right. Cabal Shadow Priest, what can you steal?
5-0, Raven!
Hey, I know!
I'm angry at you specifically about this.
I'm just the guy casting, come on.
Not too quickly.
I'll be honest, I don't really know how to commentate this moment. It's like, you're just dead, Warma. It's like, there's not a lot to say. It's just offering like, how much does Penance heal for? Plus 1 billion? No, okay, it's not going to be enough. And there's the conceit. Yeah, it's as easy as that, and it's a chuckle for Casie, but Warma must be annoyed because he just didn't get to play a game of Hearthstone after that turn. He's just dead. Oh.
He just said no and left. I'm sure he spent about 60 of that 75 seconds just processing the same range of emotions that I was, but in a much more civilized fashion. Because how can you not? How can you genuinely start that turn in the mindset of, okay, this is bad, but how do I get back out of this situation? Like, surely at least some of that time must be spent on what? Like, what has just happened here? Because that's ridiculous. He got every portal in his deck. With still his deck was in double figures overall. And they were just all freaking 8/8s. Like, what on earth? Well, regardless of that, if Casie ever needed a performance, it was now, because I believe he has now secured himself that Division A spot going into the new season. That gives him maximum chances at World Championship spots and minimum chance of being relegated, although both are still very much possible. Whereas Warma is going to have to go back to the drawing board now and await the winner between Viper and Boar Control, who were the losers in our first 2 opening matches.
Yeah, and that's the big deal, isn't it? Because we went into this series saying, and Warma is not a stupid person, right? He knows full well that is a rough matchup, and he probably was going in with a reasonable expectation to lose. Maybe not in the fashion he did, but still, very tough matchup. But we've seen what he can do to Viper's Warlock, so I think Warma might be like, oh, Viper, you take down Boar Control. That'll be good, and then I'll play you again, and then will propel himself into the top 4. So I don't know if it's going to happen, but I imagine that's the outcome that Warma would want to happen, is to just go against Viper again versus playing a Highlander priest with